Wow, good morning. This is Dialogue Box on Blossom Nigeria, and definitely it's been an interesting journey talking about how we can improve our nation and get things to work in the right direction. Don't forget that no matter how bad things are, we've always said it that we believe in a better Nigeria. Not because we just want to maybe get into a kind of a phase of wishful thinking, but because we know that realistically things can actually work out better for our nation, and that is why we are talking our nation in the right direction. So this morning we'll be looking at the schools that are resuming on September 21 according to Lagos State government. What has been put in place to ensure that everything is in the right frame, structure, and everything is working out psychologically and otherwise for the resumption of schools from both the parents' angle, the teachers' angle, and the government angle. So we'll be looking at all of that this morning. I would like you to call in and send us your opinion and your thoughts on it on 080-3088-7339, then also on 090-5252-5107. Don't also forget that we are all out and we are doing everything possible to increase our influence, because we know that what we are working towards is a better Nigeria on all fronts, and we are not about to let go. So you can send your invite your contact and your friends to join us and be with us on our page on Facebook, BlossomNigeria. Then on our website, www.blossomnigeria.com, you can always visit us and send in your comments and your opinion. All right, so this morning, let's not also forget our YouTube channel. That is a very core aspect of what we are doing. So you can join us on our YouTube channel and be a subscriber to what we are doing. Thank you so much for being a part of that. So we'll give you some background details and we'll move on from there. We'll also be having some guest analysts that will be joining us this morning. All right, we have it that teachers and parents in Lagos State have experienced or expressed reservations about the September 21 resumption date for pupils and students in both the primary and the secondary schools. They are describing it as unrealistic for public schools. And don't forget, when we say public schools, they are referring to, they are referring to government schools, government-owned schools. So these are the public schools that they are referring to. And most teachers and parents say that they are in doubt if, after what COVID-19 has done to the system, if the guidelines and safety protocols will be met by the government when necessary arrangements had not been made in most schools according to their observations. So since this is a fact in most government schools, will it be realistic for schools to go ahead and open, or the government expect teachers and the parents to work with available structures and ignore all the health concerns? So these are some of the issues we'll be looking at in this edition of Dialogue Box. So we'd like you to call us and let us know what you think about it. So more details, we have it that among those that are showing concerns about the planned resumption of schools are the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT. Then we also have the Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, ASUS. Then National Association of Parents Teachers Association of Nigeria, NAPTAN. So describing the September 21 date as unrealistic, ASUS President Kazim Labaika cited one of the state-owned schools as an example. According to him, out of the 13 classrooms in the college, 11 are being used for WASC, that's for the West African Senior School Certificate Examinations. And he wondered where other students would stay on resumption. So he noted at the end of the exam will not bring any relief, as another examination will also take off. That is a basic education certificate examination that is popularly referred to as BECE for junior secondary school, three students who would begin immediately after the WAEC. So Labaika pointed out that some of the schools had between 1,000 and 3,000 students with few classrooms, warning that with the principle of physical distancing, most of the students would not have classrooms to sit in. Referring to the government's online learning scheme, Labaika also said that most students could not participate, as most parents could not afford the cost of data and phones, because there was the news making the rounds that the government also made arrangements for online studies. But what Mr. Labaika is saying is that it was not realistic because most parents, they were not well informed, and some were not with the right resources to get enough data and their phones ready for that. Then supporting that resumption date concern, the NUT also said that the union had submitted a memorandum to the state government on what must be put in place before schools could resume. So the state chairman of NUT, Adedoyin Adesina, observed that the government had just started to fix the water system. That's the water system in public schools in preparation for resumption, and wondered if they could meet the resumption date. So he suggested that schools should resume in phases depending on the government's level of readiness. In other words, what they actually need in the restrooms are not even fully in place. He said that the water systems are just being installed in some schools and it's not even a very general exercise yet. So in line with that, the NAPTAN chairman, that's the National Association of Parents Teachers Forum, or the Association of Parents Teachers, Haruna Danjuma, has urged the government to tread cautiously. Danjuma said that the seating arrangement in line with the COVID-19 safety protocols must be considered before reopening schools. He says if schools are open for all the students, how will they be attending classes? That's his concern. Are they planning to run shifts? That's another major thought. Have they put in place makeshift classrooms to accommodate the students? Will they be able to maintain physical distancing? Or the students will be jam-packed in a place? So there has to be a proper plan by the government to assure parents that their children will be safe, he said. So that's from the chairman of NAPTAN, citing some of these concerns. Let's take them again, one after the other. He says, how will they be attending classes? Are they planning to run shifts for teachers? So have they put in place makeshift classrooms to accommodate the students? Then will they be able to maintain physical distancing, or the students will be jam-packed in one place? Then, according to him, he rounded off by saying that there has to be a proper plan by the government to assure parents that their children will be safe. Then meanwhile, medical experts are divided on the safety of students on resumption, and they called for caution and good planning. The Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, NIMR, Yaba, Lagos State, Professor Babatunde Salako, cautiously supported the reopening of schools, and we wonder what he meant by cautiously supporting. It's either you are supporting or not, but when you say you are cautiously supporting, it brings to mind some very major areas that we still need to look into. So Professor Babatunde Salako says that we have to start from somewhere. Cases are coming down in the last few weeks. According to him, those who are getting the infection, the cases have reduced in the last few weeks. Then isolation centers are not seeing a significant number of admission cases. Then this is coupled with the fact that, according to him, he said we have not seen children infection so far. So we must, however, be prepared for an upsurge in infection because of expected increase in social interactions. So these are some of the concerns that have been raised. But from what Professor Salako is saying, he's cautiously supporting government move. And like we said, we wonder what he means by cautiously supporting. Then according to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in preparation for school resumption, the Federal Ministry of Education has developed a nationwide guideline for schools and learning facilities for reopening after the COVID-19 pandemic. So to ensure the safety and well-being of learners, the teachers, the administrators, and other educational personnel, the NCDC is recommending widespread sensitization and dissemination of information, then education and communication materials on COVID-19, as well as compliance with safety measures. So the measures, according to the Commission, include the proper screening at school entrance, use of face mask, diligent temperature checks, washing of hands with soap and water, among others. So the commission also urged schools to establish COVID-19 referral systems, just as it promised to monitor, encourage, and enforce all schools reopening to follow these protocols. So with all these guidelines and safety concerns, the fact remains that what is the government doing to assure parents and guardians that their children will be safe? Though the doctor is also, Professor Salako is saying that most children have really not been prone to infection for the COVID-19 pandemic, that is mostly the adults that have been affected. So if what he's saying is correct, he is also saying that the government should also watch out for increase in the number of infection cases because of increase in social interactions. So with all of this, what more can the government do? Because from what the NAPTAN chairman said, a lot has not been put in place. According to him, even the water system that is needed in most schools for effective sanitization of the restrooms are still not in place in most schools. It's just a few schools that are being, those exercises and those installations are being carried out. So what more can be done? And what is the government really doing to assure people and assure parents that their children are safe? Or is the government saying that there is no need to be concerned for COVID-19, and in fact that means ignore the safety concerns, ignore the health concerns, and just go about your academic activities? So is that what the government is also saying? So you can reach us on 08030887339, and also you can call us on that same number and on 09052525107. So what do you think about it? We are using Lagos State as a case study, but in most other states across the nation, schools are gradually resuming in phases. In Osun State, schools they've already resumed. Kogi State has announced the resumption of schools. Several other states have announced that schools are fully resumed, or the resumption has taken off to a large extent in some phases. So, but what Lagos State is saying is that they are ready to kick off from September 21. So, fine, is a very excellent and good idea. After all, the students and the children are tired of staying at home. But the point is, are the safety measures fully followed? The protocols of the NCDC, are they being followed? And all the concerns that parents have raised, fine, we may not have it. To be very practical and realistic, we may not really have anything like observing of social distancing. It cannot work because right now a lot of students are already eager to resume schools, and you cannot tell them not to interact, not to play together, not to. So most of those safety concerns for this physical distancing or social distancing, we can lay that aside. That is not really a realistic guideline that must be followed. Then the other one that we think the government should lay more emphasis on is the one that the NUT chairman and the NAPTAN chairman they've cited as the classrooms. A lot of the classrooms normally, like we said earlier when we looked at this topic, they have an average of 80 students in a class. So if you have that much in a class, how are you sure that number one, like we said, physical distancing will not hold, but also the general hygiene level, will it be kept? And even the use of face mask that was suggested may not also be very practical, because not every student will be very comfortable to use face mask in a learning environment. Some of them may not get anything from the teachers because their concerns will be on how to breathe properly. So a lot of those may not also work. But what we think should be done is to see to it that the restrooms are well, the water system that they have cited as being installed by the government in some schools should spread out to all schools, not just some. But every school that is under government control should have this, so that the restrooms are well, the hygiene is well maintained. Then we also have the issue of hand sanitizers. That should be well, as in we should have enough of that, not just from the students. What if they come to school without hand sanitizers? So most of these concerns, the government will also have to make provision for them. Then there was this issue of running shifts. The teachers, are they going to be running shifts? If you say, for instance, a class that normally should take about 80 students and let's assume you want to split the number to 40. That means you are going to be running shifts. So are you employing more teachers for that? Are you paying the teachers extra for extra hours? So these are some of the concerns that must be addressed. So we'd like you to send us your opinion and what you think about this, and let's work with what you have suggested, because like we say, we are talking the nation in the right direction. And while this is going on, the Ministry of Education should also do a lot of sensitization. That is a very, very key point. Sensitize both the parents, the students, the teachers, everyone concerned, every stakeholder, not just for the government schools, but also for the private schools. But the sensitization will help spread out the right level of information, communicate the right guidelines and whatever the government is expecting from the private sector and from public schools. Very, very key. All right. So let's get you to talk to us this morning. We're expecting a call from one of our analysts, and once that comes in, we'll like to know what should be done and if the government has done enough or not. So talk to us on 08030887339. Very, very key point. Then in Lagos State, we still have it that every parent is still concerned about how much will the students be able to imbibe, like I said earlier, when they are all supposed to be wearing face masks. And like most people have said, that the COVID-19 pandemic is actually supposed to be like a scam. If it is a scam, when we say a scam, it's not a real pandemic, and different opinions are out there. Some people say, oh, it's a good one, that the government is trying to lay emphasis on what should be done, but the fact is that you can't stop people from interacting, and you can't get people to a point of stopping them from interaction. Like in the marketplaces, how many people can you stop from interacting, and how many places will the government be able to go to monitor those who are really on that interaction level? It won't work. So we need to do a lot more. And in our schools, for the young people, just like Professor Salako said, he said most children have not really had any form of infection when you talk of COVID-19. So in other words, it's not a risk factor for children. But even then, he advised that the sanitization of schools should be looked into, and also whatever needs to be done to see to it that with social interaction, there might be increase in cases of those that are infected. It may not be from the children, maybe from the adults that are taking care of them, but we don't even foresee this. What we are looking out for is the government should use this as an opportunity to address safety concerns, hygiene levels, and also have proper space arrangement for the classrooms and not jam-packing students in one place. There was also the concern of the WAEC, that's a WASC that is being that is being written right now, and that when the students resume, which classrooms are they going to be using? Because when those classrooms are being used to write the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, and like one of the Mr. Labaika said that out of 13 classrooms, 11 are being used for WASC. So is it the remaining 2 that the other children will use? And even if they round off with the WAEC, that's the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, the junior certificate examinations for the GSS3 students will start immediately. So where is the facility? Where are the facilities? Are they going to be having makeshift classrooms? So these are very key concerns that the government has to look into. Like we said earlier, this is not a time for government to see education as maybe a sector that they should just maybe cut off some of the budget, but rather they should increase the budget to a large extent. A lot needs to be done to correct what, especially in Lagos State, most of the classrooms are jam-packed. Let's use that word. They are the number of students are so much, and the facilities are not even big enough to accommodate the number. Fine, we cannot send them back and say, okay, don't come to school. But then if you are coming to school, the government should be able to make some extra arrangements for them. Very key. So if this is it, then government, you have to sit up and do much more. Very, very key. So these are very key points that we are looking at today. What is your take on this? And let's have every one of us contribute. No matter what, we have what it takes to change the system, and the government has what it takes. So just get us a more standard arrangement for the children as they resume. September 21 is still about some days away that the government can still make up their minds to do something really notable in most schools across the state, and even every other state that schools have resumed. Like we said, is a very good initiative to get the students back to the classrooms. But even with that, they need to know that while they are getting the children back to the classrooms, they still have to follow the safety protocols of the NCDC, except we are saying that the government is deceiving itself, which we will not want to believe. So if the government is serious about this COVID-19 pandemic and the consequence on the society, then they should be willing to go all out to see to the safety of every child. Not just some, but every child. So in Kogi State, in Osun State, in Lagos State, in Ogun State, every state should imbibe these measures. Using Lagos State as a reference point is only letting us know that Lagos is like a point where we can use to gauge and work out how much is happening in all other states. And don't forget that even the tertiary institutions are supposed to be resuming within this month of September, even though some are still crying now that they are not fully ready to resume. That's from the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and some are saying they are ready to resume. Most private universities are saying they are ready, and some public universities are still saying they are not ready to resume. So whatever needs to be done, needs to be done. Government, look into this with immediate effect and see to it that hygiene, we can never underrate it. We must put everything in place to see to it that these hygiene levels, this is an opportunity to increase it and get classrooms to function the way they ought to. And even the teachers, if you need to get more teachers to take care of the extra students, and even the students that are on ground, like we said, are they going to be having makeshift classrooms to accommodate the number? Because if you say you want to carry out social distancing, then start from the classrooms. Once you have the right number of students per class, it will be easier for the teachers to even manage the number of students they have in a classroom. But when they don't have most of these things in place, a lot of them end up, just like what they say in public schools, there is no teacher-student relationship. They just end up just teaching mass. And when they teach en mass like that, they just believe that the students, they just get it one way or the other, but it's not always so. So let's work on that, a very, very key point. All right, we have a call coming in right now. Let's take this call from one of our callers. Hello.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. Is this
Mrs. Ine.
Okay, Mrs. Ine, you are welcome. We've actually been trying to get your call. So what is your take on the resumption of schools on September 21?
Well, the question is very right because, as you say, we've been expecting to see school again.
Okay.
And as you see, psychologically, if parents are really ready, I want to say no. And that's for two reasons. I had a friend call me yesterday and she was like, I'm happy that school was to resume, and at the same time, I'm not happy that school was to resume. And I was asking why. She's a teacher, a primary school teacher, and the resumption of school, and it's what will come bounce back, which is okay that class is low. And on the other hand, she has school fees to pay for her children. So because of that, she's in the school. She's not prepared financially for the resumption of the children, paying of school fees and all the rest. But she wants to resume.
Okay, I think your sound is a bit noisy. Can you hear us?
Ma?
Can you hear me? Your sound is a bit noisy. Okay, it's better now. You can continue.
Okay. So, psychologically, I don't think parents are fully ready because so much logistics to be put in place for the children, at least in preparing the children from the home front. I don't think parents have fully come to be able to do that, as in preparing their children, their world for resumption fully. And with the fact that they are still not completely convinced about the safety of their children, and that has to do with how much safety measures the government has put in place.
Okay.
as in stopping the COVID-19 spread in case their children eventually resume. So that one is another fear.
Okay.
And that's in the heart of parents.
In the parents.
And
Okay.
guardians, yes.
Okay,
So psychologically, I don't think parents are fully ready to allow their children go out for some reasons. The presence of the government, they are not really seeing it today. And then the commitment to children is giving back because it has financial commitment and it has emotional, moral commitment too.
Okay, then a quick one. Madam Gladys, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to find out that it is actually, sometimes we need to weigh some things on the angle of how realistic, because we've been waiting. And if we continue waiting for government to put some of these things in place before the schools resume, will it not amount to everlasting wait?
Yes.
So do you think it's something you should maybe still encourage more of the students to still stay at home while the government is trying to, because the year can end and the government will still be telling us that a lot is being done, but not much is being done in that aspect. So that's why we're telling the government to do a lot much more. But then, do you advise that the children should still be at home while this is going on?
I strongly want to advise that the government should try whatever they can to make sure all safety measures are put in place. Not deny that children are resuming just on the fact that we are doing a trial and error thing. We work with while they are there. It will be wrong. That is sincere truth because these children are our future generation. We have to do the needful now. So I don't know how long it's going to take the government. But at the same time, we know the children need to start school. We know they need to go back to the classroom. Because we have tried it in our home, but so many of them, they are losing interest. That's the truth. So many of them are losing interest academically. Except for few ones that are disciplined. And it's an intentional discipline. They are intentionally disciplined to study. Aside that, forget it. They are losing interest gradually. And going back to school will revive that interest. So we have these children in different forms. Those that you have to push, those that already they can push themselves, those that already you don't really need to push them, you just discipline, they pick up.
Okay.
And then you pick up. So I would strongly advise the government, I don't know how long it's going to take them, but they should put it as a priority. I know we have so much to attend to in different sectors, different aspects of the country. But let them try and put this as a priority.
Okay.
The children on the scale of preference as a top priority and work towards it. And I know it's achievable if they put their minds and hearts to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Gladys. We appreciate your call. We look forward to having the government implement some of these things that you have suggested. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Okay, so that was Madam Gladys. We have one of our other callers also. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, BlossomNigeria.
Yeah, welcome to Dialogue Box. So, Madam, you are right here with us today. So, talking about the school's resumption and using Lagos State as a case study, they are working on resuming on September 21. Do you think the government schools and all that the government needs to do to make sure that that date is realistic has been put in place?
I emphatically no. From the look of things, we are not ready. The government is not ready. Because why did I say this? Look at the YX students that were told to resume just for the sake of the exams. You can see a lot of news going on. So number of people contacted COVID-19, coronavirus, so number of people recovered. If the ones we are thinking, okay, they are grown to an extent to be able to manage the hygiene that we are
advocating for.
Yes, if these grown-up ones are still being carried over the news that the social number of people contacted coronavirus, we'll talk about the very young ones that we are trying to tell to resume school. Okay, imagine, is it so convenient for a child to wear a face mask
these are the things they said can prevent COVID-19. Face mask, washing of hands,
while learning,
social distancing, and so many other things. Okay, let's look at it. Can a nursery student be able to wear face masks while classes are going on? Or what are the measures they are put in place to even to carry out this social distance? Are we looking at the school resuming in batches? Because, okay, a school of social number of people, they have built the school to accommodate this number of students. So if you are saying the students should resume, are you saying which they should resume in batches in order to put the social distance in place, or everybody should resume? If everybody is to resume, what is the plan? Have you made any plan? Do you understand? We need to put all these things in place because parents are skeptical. Parents are not emotionally ready to put their children into such risk. Because if there was a vaccine that has been brought up and say, okay, this is a vaccine that can take care of coronavirus, okay, students can resume, this vaccine will be given to students free, or these are the measures we are put in place, school will resume in batches, social number of students will be in school at this time, while social number of students will be in school at this time. It's a better plan than saying we are all working towards resuming school. And there is no plan for this coronavirus to be prevented.
Okay, now, Ma, being that this is you are actually a health professional, and we have also spoken with you on some issues that have to do with the health concerns. But if we are to look at it from that health angle, we have one Professor Salako that has said that COVID-19 has really not been a challenge among children. That is mostly the adults that have been having those infections. So with that, can we really say that is enough ground for us to say that the children are to a large extent safe, and maybe they can still operate without some of these, in quotes, safety measures from the NCDC?
Okay. If COVID-19 is not, although from the record so far, children have not really been so infected by this COVID-19. Then another thing I can tell you, if we are to go by the way things are going, a lot of people just think COVID-19 is fake. It's just a rumor. It's a scam. Because we've dealt with these issues in some of your other programs.
Yeah.
You understand? So if we are to go by that, students can actually resume unless the government come up openly and say, my people, this COVID-19 is not going to affect children. Come up openly. It's not affecting kids. And let us know. Because actually, we have seen that this thing is not affecting us. So from our own angles as parents, we know that this thing is not really affecting people as much as it's been propagated. But you know, the government has refused to accept some of the things that are going on. They have refused to accept the reality. And you keep pushing that there is COVID-19, this and that. Okay, the children that have been at home all the while, that were yet to resume WIEC, none of them caught COVID-19 until they got into examination hall. How can you explain that?
Okay.
You understand? So what I'm trying to say is that if they can come up openly and make it know that, COVID-19, we can see that, children are not susceptible to.
Hello.
If doctors are coming up to talk, or health practitioners, have the doctor confirmed some of these speculations that we are just speculating, but there's no concrete proof that this thing is not affecting kids. But we just know from what is going on around us that it's not really affecting kids that much.
All right. So
then we just need a backup from the government or from the health practitioner that this is the proof and this is the reality, so that parents can be more confident.
Okay. All right. Now a final one from you, Madam Kendra Wonkolo. You've given us a very sound view about this, that if the government can really come up to say this is COVID-19 is not really as we have propagated it according to you, then maybe more parents will be more comfortable to release their children to go to school with the right mindset. Can you hear me? Okay, the call just got cut. We will get that back. So from what Madam Kendra has said, it is all about communication. Government should tell the parents what they need to know. If you are really insisting that COVID-19 is in the air, and is everywhere. And as you have said it from the government angle, then do the needful in putting in place the safety measures to prevent more young people or students to be susceptible to those kind of pandemics or attacks. So, but if you say that COVID-19, maybe they should ignore most of those things, and that means you are shooting yourself in the foot. All right, let's quickly get this as a final one from Madam Kendra. Hello.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the next break.
Okay, so a quick one before we let you go. Finally, I was saying that if the government really can come up to say that this thing is not as they have said it, then the parents will be more comfortable. But now that they are still insisting that COVID-19 is in the air, so should parents stand out to say they will not allow their children to resume, because not everything has been done by the government to put in place the necessary safety measures for these young children to resume?
Of course, I accept it if parents stand by it, because we are talking about our children. We are talking about the people's lives. So if the government is saying this thing is still in the air, then the parents have the right to say, okay, if it's in the air, then I cannot allow my child to go to school.
If you have not done the needful, yeah.
Yes, parents have the right to do that, because now you are putting our children at risk. If anything happens to them, then you say, after all, we said this thing is in the air. So what is the backup? What are you backing up? Are you backing up the parents that want to take such risks? Is everybody ready to take such risks? It's like saying there is fire in this place, and then you can allow your children to cross it. Then if they get burnt, it's their own cup of tea. Because it means that's what you are trying to say. Because now you are telling us there is fire, and you are not giving us how you want to quench it. Then you say we should just cross, we should just be moving. Even though we know that this fire may not burn us, but at least we have a government. Even in the Bible, there's government we have to look up to. So the government have to carry out their own responsibility the way it should before the followers follow suit. Even though we know the right thing, we know what is going on, but we still need we need the government to back us up.
Okay.
Before we release our children, let them back us up and tell us, okay, so thing is not the way it is, or it is actually real. But these are the measures to put in place. It's two-way.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate your call. Actually, we would like to have you as a live guest so that we can talk more with you. But for now,
thank you so much.
The points you have made are very valid. You can't tell students that there's a fire and you are not willing to put out the fire or put in place what should be done to avoid such fire. Thank you so much. We appreciate your call.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, so that was Madam Kendra Nwokolo that just called in. So much to say. She really has a lot to say. And like she has said, government will have to communicate and let people know what exactly is in the air. If you really in putting in place the right safety measures for these young children to resume school, except you are saying that what you have been saying all along about the COVID-19 is not really true, or it is not whole truth, maybe to some extent, but not whole truth. So how do we address that? So these are some of the things we are looking at. So thank you so much to all our callers that have called in today, and for those who have sent in their comments. We still want you to continue talking with us on our Blossom Nigeria page on Facebook, and also sorry for that hitch, and also our website www.blossomnigeria.com. Don't also forget that we are on YouTube and you can be a subscriber on YouTube. Thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to having you tomorrow. Don't forget that in all we do, we are talking the nation in the right direction, and this is Blossom. We believe in a Nigerian dream. Thank you.